So it's Christmas time, and I've been thinking about lately this erotica novel I'm writing. I don't know if that has anything to do with Christmas or not, but so I've been thinking about this Christmas season. It's a beautiful rape fantasy because that's what women want. That's what they spend their money on. And who am I, a white-ish male, to say how dare you women express your sexuality? This women should be free to do whatever they want, and I'm a writer and an entertainer somehow, and therefore I'm writing a rape fantasy at Christmas time. It doesn't take place in Christmas, but it does take place in the winter. And there's this young 21-year-old college graduate, and she's leaving her insurance job downtown. She's walking to a car. She goes down the wrong alley, and there's a syphilitic crackhead homeless man there who bashes her over the head with a bottle of MD 2020, and she's lying there in the blood and the fortified wine mixing with her tears. It's a very Ovidian scene because I'm classically educated, so I love to describe a woman in turmoil. And and then he sodomizes her, and his heart isn't in great condition because of all the crack and the syphilis and God knows what else. And so the orgasm causes him to have a heart attack, and he also collapses. And so he wakes up next to her in the ER. And I thought about here going with a kind of waiting for Godot or Godot or something that was French and gay about how to the existential meaning of morality in an absurdist world. But again, that's French and gay. And as you can see, Blair also is a very sexual creature. So I decided not to. I decided to I decided to skip all that. And they just get talking, and she feels pity for him, and maybe just a slight infatuation, but she doesn't really know, and you, the reader, don't really know. She decides the Christian thing to do would be to invite him back over to her house, because he's on the streets. And this time he promises to be gentle, and so she gives herself to him, and uh, and then he rapes her in the ass. Again, he lies because that's what syphilitic crackhead homeless people do, which is probably correlated to how they became homeless and addicted to crack and syphilis in the first place. And but this was the greatest anal orgasm of her life. I mean, it's only like her second one, and actually, I forgot to mention she's a virgin who was never kissed a guy when she first ran into him, and because for some reason women have this thing about like giving up their virginity to a Christian Grey kind of guy because they all feel guilty that none of them saved sex for marriage. They lost it all when they're 16 to the first guy who said "I love you." So anyway, this is their fantasy. So anyway, she has this amazing anal orgasm, partly because his cock ruptures her anal cavity and she starts bleeding out, and so I mean, as she's losing blood, she goes lightheaded, and she confuses that with kind of euphoria, ecstasy. But also because he's this alpha male who plays by his own rules, and he doesn't follow society's conventions, and he takes what he wants. Because apparently women like that too. Um, so she's in love or something that's close enough to convince women to buy my stupid book. And as she starts bleeding, she passes out. She's lost 2 pints of blood because I think you only have 5 pints or 5 gallons or something of that nature. And it's wakes up in the hospital a few hours later, and she's infected. And the next day she dies of gangrene. And it's kind of a Shakespearean tragedy, like too much love will kill you, as Freddie Mercury sang, or something. There's a meaning in there somewhere about the tragedy of love and sodomy, which increasingly we're conflating the two in our society. So it's all well and good. Um, and I'm also going to include a bunch of Harry Potter references because for some reason that shit still sells. And if you can offhand mention Harry Potter, people will think that they're clever for getting your overt reference. Same thing with the Beatles. So there's going to be like Beatles and Harry Potter sprinkled throughout. He'll take her to the strawberry fields and do it forever and wants to hold her hand, and she's gonna make his wand Slytherin or something. A snake Slytherin. Yeah, yeah, I guess. Yeah, buy a copy.